And you're just in time for yet another classical edition of Siasa Brigade here on Herman Manyora's channel. Of course, this is a show that also has its live versions that come to you every Friday from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. here on the channel. And today, our person of interest is none other than the first, or I should say, the pioneer governor of Mombasa County, Hassan Ali Joho, who currently is marked right at the center of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition campaigns. And for this particular edition, we want to look at his political journey, find what the future portends for him in the world of politics. And also, before we wrap up the conversation, as is the norm, I give you insights into the life of Herman Manyora on our Wheel of Time segment. And today, we want to understand what it looks like or what it takes to be a village inspiration. Back in Vihiga, a number of people have endorsed him for the parliamentary bid. He has turned it down not once, not twice. Here in Nairobi, when it came to Westland, he was endorsed, but he also turned it down. We want to understand why. And at the end of the day, we want to know if he is the proud son of the village that has always looked up to him. My name is Richard Mwenja. Always a pleasure to have you on board. And let's dive straight into this conversation with the man himself.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm quite well. How about you?
I'm okay.
All right. Today, we are literally talking about a person who very recently bowed in your presence during the Azimio running mate interviews. Whose son are you? Whose child are you?
Me? I'm the son of Nezia. I'm
But
a child of Nezia.
you must be a big boy.
No. I'm a small boy in this country.
And then how do you explain the Sultan bowing at your presence?
No, that's just somebody greeting another one.
You were the talk of town that day. They say Manyora is part of this, deep state, you know?
Which deep state? Even in shallow state, I'm not part of it. I'm not part of the state.
Just a small fish.
Not even shallow. I'm just not part of the state.
All right.
If I was part of the, people say I'm deep state, I really love. Would I be having a problem even buying gas like today? I don't think I have gas in the house. So I would not be this poor.
Yeah.
I'm not very poor in that sense of I'm a person who is really in want. But if I was deep state, even my shoes would be different.
Yet they are on your speed dial, Joho and a number of them.
No, nothing. Forget about that. These
All
are
right.
people just meet once in a while and say hi to them.
And they buy you coffee.
Yeah, well, you buy them.
All right, so let's
Skinny
talk.
jeuri. Ndio mimi.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk matters to do with Joho's political life this far and probably what the future portends for him. In our past interviews, at some point you alluded or rather signaled that probably there is a time this country will have a Muslim president. And you signaled that that person will most likely be Hassan Ali Joho. First, do you think Kenyans have warmed up to that idea that probably there will come a day whereby we'll now say we want a Muslim presidency, and probably what makes Joho that perfect match for that position?
You know what, Richard? Politics is about power. And power does not concede anything. You go for it. That's why I find Mudavadi's politics very laughable. The politics of expecting to be given. That's not politics. Politics is about power. And the power concedes nothing. You grab it. So to say one day Muslims will be given, no. They will look at their demographics. They look at their sons and daughters and say, this is the time we are going to put one of us ahead and push for him and ask other Kenyans to support us in making him or her the president. What I've only said, that person for now can only be Ali Hassan Joho.
Not Suleiman Shabal, not Abdul Samad Nasir.
No, those ones are in another tier. You know, Joho is up there. These are work with Chini, Kina Junet, and they are good people, but they are not where Joho is.
You are talking of matters, people who can literally compete on the same platform with Joho. We've seen Balala being in government before the new...
He's not in that level. He's not in the league of Joho. Joho is in the league of William Ruto, Uhuru Kenyatta and such. And Kina Raila, maybe just slightly below Raila and Ruto and Uhuru, but he's in that league.
In the same breath, we've seen Balala being in pre-new constitution regimes as a minister in Mwai Kibaki's government, and other times before, we've seen him still be the tourism minister under the Jubilee administration. So Balala has rightly been in government for many years than Joho has been. Now, Joho has been promised the land's docket should Raila Odinga clinch it to power. Do you think that Joho, once given that position, perhaps will herald a new beginning for coastal people? Yet, we have their son who's been there for a long time. Do you think Joho can fade away the impact that Balala has had in coastal politics? You
know, it is about clout. Politics is about clout. You know? Joho has clout, and he doesn't need to be a minister to have that clout. He's already beyond a minister. To be a minister is just to help Raila sort out the issues at the coast in Mata's land, but not to, that can't increase his profile. He already has clout, sufficient clout, way ahead of Balala. Sasa Balala ni mboga gani?
Come on. But now if you're looking at the real impact on the ground, yes. We've seen Joho, you've saying, is more of a clout chaser, perhaps, which is actually working for him in his political life. Don't you think coastal people know that they're divided into blocks? They want a person who will probably change their fortunes through the blue economy, and that Joho has been rightly there for the 10 years, Mombasa County governor. Don't you think this time around people will tell him it's high time now he goes outside the active politics, because there is not much wiggle room left for him to make an impact on coastal politics, and Balala will remain the de facto kingpin of coastal politics?
You know what? There is just so much you can do as a county government, especially in these first 10 years, 2 terms. We have not quite embraced the idea of devolution. If you look at the amount of resources that were kept in Nairobi, instead of being released to the counties, then you can begin to understand what I'm saying. For example, in matters of water, health, all that money is supposed to go down there, agriculture, but it remains in Nairobi. Huge chunks of the money that's supposed to go down there is held in Nairobi. So if you are releasing all those funds down, we could be judging governors a little more fairly than we are doing today. But if you compare the coastal governors, all the way from Tana River, Taita Taveta, Kwale, Kilifi, Joho has outdone them. I should think so.
All right.
And I think if he's given that docket, unless he's not seeing what we are seeing, there's so much you can do to sort out the mess at the coast. The idea of injustice, historical injustice at the coast, especially concerning land, has been at the heart of Raila's life and the pursuit and the politics. Some of the things Raila has always wanted to address and has fought for are land issues at the coast, top on his agenda. That would explain why he's putting there
Hassan Joho.
Raila has also had the people of northern Kenya at the heart of his political life. That again explains why he, during Kibaki's time, created a ministry of northern Kenya. You know, so I think, first of all, Joho will have a boss who will give him the necessary support and infrastructure to do what he ought to do. And secondly, Joho, as a coastal himself, must know he's a son of the land, son of the coast, given an opportunity by Raila Odinga to help address the historical injustice at the coast. Because he understands those problems. I hope he will not be compromised by some of these landowners. But that will be tragic, honestly.
All right.
Because I always say this, when God has blessed you to the level of Joho, what else do you really still need? You know, some lady was talking to me and telling me that there's somebody he respects so much, a man from a political family in this country, a multi-billionaire. He was involved in KEMSA. So this girl was asking, just what's wrong with Kenyans? You know, some American doctor called me once from Indiana, and she told me, surely, you Kenyans, just how much money does a Kenyan need? Why am I saying this? I'm saying I think Joe has been blessed enough. You can call it what you want. But I think he has sufficient resources of his own. So why would anybody compromise Joe when he's trying to address the issues of land? Because there will be attempts to compromise it. Because there are vested interests. There are people who own land at the coast. They don't know where Kenya is.
Sons of the coast.
Absentee landlords at the coast. And they are rich oil sheikhs. So he must be able to address that. I said, look here. I have a chance of a lifetime to do something for my fellow coastarians.
You've actually written off the impact Najib Balala has made in the tourism sector and by large the blue economy in marine tourism.
Yes.
Now that is a son from the coast. Probably should Raila clinch the presidential seat, is going to put Joho in there. Then why do you have so much confidence in Joho? Yet history can repeat itself, and Joho could go the Balala way of being directly involved at the center of government projects, but literally doing minimal for the people where he's coming from.
There's a big difference between Balala and Joho. If you look at the two, Joho is a doer, he's a go-getter, he's an aggressive person. He has passion, and you can see the passion. Passion is lacking in Balala. He's not a go-getter.
A water boy?
Pardon?
Are you trying to signal probably Balala is more of those cabinet secretaries who are more water boys or puppets around the presidency?
Just establishment and just there. I've always dismissed Balala because look at the tourism sector. For every 1 shilling tourism brings in this country, a minister, I'm just talking of a minister, if there was a minister, there should be 20 more shillings. You get what I'm saying? Money from the tourism sector in this country can pay off our foreign debts, our national debt, in just 3-4 years. 3-4 years. Look at Naivasha, for example. If you get rid of those farms that are poisoning the lake, don't talk about flowers and if people are poisoning the lake. Remove them at a good radius and introduce lake tourism. Naivasha alone, lake tourism.
Well enough.
6-7 star hotels around Lake Naivasha.
And we are good to go.
With sports, water sports.
Rafting and all.
My friend, that can transform the tourism sector in this country. So when you tell about Balala, I just wonder what you are talking about.
All right, I see.
Yes.
In the past, we've seen actually the coastal bloc vote as one united bloc, as Mount Kenya used to do back in the days, and Nyanza province, and many of these regional blocs. Right now, we've seen coast has been divided into divisions. Amason Kingi and Jumo are pulling the other direction, while Joho and Somad Nasir, Suleiman Shabal are pulling the Azimio way. So this is probably going to be the first election whereby coastal province not voting as united as it used to do in the recent past. Joho has been the governor of Mombasa County. That gives him the title more of a kingpin governor who should actually play the role of uniting the other governors and voting towards one bloc. In the fullness of time, don't you think coastal people will rightly put the blame at the doorstep of Joho for not literally uniting Kingi and his counterparts in Kwale and Lamu to have the vote? You
know the problem this country has faced in the last 4 years? There's so many of these governors and other people, and including church bishops and pastors, have been compromised. And you could not blame Joho if a man allowed his stomach to inform his thinking. You know? Because if you are a governor and the billions are put at your disposal and a guy can bring you 10 million and you forget you are a governor and begin reasoning using your stomach, how can you blame Joho for that?
Don't you think now this division is actually exacerbating the political tension in coastal region?
I don't think so. Let me tell you this. The people of the coast will still vote with Raila Odinga, by and large. Because even when Raila was controlling the coast, he wasn't getting 100%, right? He was getting 80 or so %. So Ruto may eat into Raila's by another 10%. So that instead of getting, say, the 18-25% Jubilee got, he can get 30-35%. It still doesn't change the fact that Raila controls the coast in terms of the votes.
I see.
Yeah.
We have seen you literally have so much confidence that probably Azimio will have the field day when it comes to this year's presidential elections, and Raila Odinga will clinch the presidential seat. However, if things actually go the opposite and Ruto gets to State House, do you think Joho is one politician who will be ready enough by that time to brace himself to go into the political call? And perhaps, are we most likely looking forward to seeing him go in the Mandago and saying, I'm going to come back in 2027, look for the Mombasa senatorial seat because I cannot stay out of government for more than 5 years?
I think Joho has gone beyond senator. You know, you cannot compare Mandago to Joho. I keep telling you, Joho is in another class, my friend. Joho is not in the category.
Can he withstand the political cold, being out of government for 5 years?
This is a rich man, and with businesses that can keep him busy, and he's a young man. He can do trans-Indian Ocean business with Arabia, Yemen, and the rest, which I'm sure he's already doing. This is a rich man. He can do his business. Joho can keep himself busy, but Joho can begin assembling a presidential campaign team.
For 2027?
Yes, he can start, and that's what I would advise him. If Raila is not successful, this bid, then Joho from ODM will stand the best chance.
Is there a possibility that he might now join Ruto's government, or will stick into opposition?
Forget about it, because that path for Joho will be a useless path. Because if Ruto is going to do 10 years and Gachagua 10, so Joho will go there after 20 years. How foolish can he be?
As the
That's why
Sultan.
people are wondering how foolish can Mudavadi be. He's 60 years. He'll wait for 20 years.
I see. All right. We've actually seen...
Joho would actually do himself good in the unlikely event. You know, you are bringing a very hypothetical situation. In the unlikely event that Raila loses, because there's no way Raila will lose this election. Let's say, hypothetically, Raila were to lose. Then Joho should just mount his presidential campaign by next year, 2023.
All right.
Just start. Launch a secretariat. Because Joho will very easily inherit Raila's vote basket. Yeah.
All right.
So he'll look for somebody from Luo Nyanza, look for somebody from Western, team up, and start their campaign from 2023 and give Ruto a run for his money. And you know, Ruto, Joe is not a coward.
Yeah, he actually talking about that thing of Joho being this bold and honest politician who is more of a Raila's watchdog, and anyone who is coming Raila's way, Joho will definitely meet him midway. We've seen him being the biggest...
you call Joho Raila's general as opposed to watchdog. Watchdog are small boys.
All right, fair enough. He has actually profiled himself as Raila's... Did you say general? Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, one of his loyal lieutenants besides Junet Mohammed and a few others. We've seen him go bare knuckle on Ruto. Actually, very recently, Mishimboko, while in the Nyanza tour, said that Ruto's match is only Joho.
Yes.
Raila is not Ruto's match. Literally saying that actually tunasema kiboko ya Ruto ni Joho.
Yes.
Don't you think Joho is actually using this, actually overusing it, because somewhat he's enjoying political patronage and this godfather-like from Raila Odinga? That's why overusing his being bold enough towards the deputy president, probably speaking which some will actually say it's not the language for a politician when addressing the DP.
Of course, Joho knows he has Raila to look up to for support and for cover and all that. But Joho is also a man, his own man. You remember Joho taking on Uhuru?
Even Waititu and Sonko.
Yeah, but don't bring in Waititu and Sonko. I'm talking about Joho taking on President Uhuru. That
Fearless.
kind of man is not a joke. Not many people can do that, you see. Only people of the caliber of Ruto can do it.
Does that now tell you why perhaps...
Forget about boys like, you know, there will be boys and young politicians bickering and tupatupa mudomo here. But I'm saying as a serious politician, you look around and you see this I can say, this I can't see. Yeah. After serious consideration, you can take on Uhuru Kenyatta. You must be a serious politician.
Does that
Forget
perhaps...
about these junior politicians.
All right. Does that in some way explain why perhaps we've seen Junet and Joho being the most, the politicians closest to Raila when it comes to now this particular campaign trail and even the previous regimes under the ODM coalition?
You know, Joho is a tough politician. He controls a strong vote basket of the coast and also with the Muslim across the country. Raila has been good with the Muslims. They have always worked with him. You need people like Junet Mohammed and Joho for that. So Joho is strong for that. Junet, on the other hand, is not strong in the similar manner of Joho, but is Raila's trusted boy.
Blue-eyed boy.
Yeah, you know, trusted boy. You can trust him. Yeah, you can send him somewhere knowing he will not begin playing around on the way.
I see.
Ataenda mahali umemtuma na arudi ndio aende acheze. But
see.
the other boys you send, they begin playing on, forget it, you know.
All right.
Yeah, so.
Almost coming to the tail, we've actually seen now that Joho is stepping out as the county governor of Mombasa come the August elections. He has actually endorsed Abdul Somad Nasir, the current MP from Vita, if I'm not wrong. What do you think has endeared Joho to pick on Abdul Somad Nasir? And do you think the Mombasa electorate will now receive this endorsement from Joho to take in Nasir as their governor?
I think it's because they have worked together. I think rather well, I should add. So if among the people you have worked well with, one of them shows they want to run for office and you think they can, why wouldn't you support them?
Do you think the people will take in Nasir?
I think so. I think so. Because, you know, many people, they don't understand the politics of the coast. Nasir is the son to the famous Sharif Nasir. And Sharif Nasir was a popular politician, not because of anything. He had very close ties with the people on the grassroots. Unamkuta pale
food soldiers.
Only town where ameweka mkeka chini wamekuwa nakula wali na raia. And sourcing for aid for people from Saudi, from where. Those kind of ties you don't untie them very easily.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances that Nasir will take in as the new governor of Mombasa?
1 to 10. 7 to 10.
7 to 10.
Nasir is already the governor of Mombasa.
Kenya Kwanza is going to lose in Mombasa?
Only Joho would have harassed him. What do you call him?
Suleiman Shabal?
No, Sonko.
Sonko?
Sonko will have distorted the picture. Because the narratives that was at the coast, there were very dangerous narratives being played.
All right.
In the absence of Sonko, Nasir is already the governor of Mombasa. Yes.
How much of a threat actually was Suleiman Shabal to Joho's political life in the coast? Just to wrap up.
Not at all.
He wasn't such a threat that Raila had to tell him to quit coastal politics?
That explains to you how powerful Joho is. To reduce somebody like that to where he was reduced tells a lot about Joho's power. Yeah.
I see. And that's where we wrap up the entire conversation, touching on the political life of Hassan Ali Joho and what the future portends for him. We are trying to look at whether he is making steps towards the right direction and whether he'll be in the political cold after the August general elections, or he will be marked right at the center of a Raila's presidency, or I should say administration. And of course, before we wrap it all together, it's time for Wheel of Time segment. And today we want to take a look at the life of Herman Manyora and try to understand what it is like to be a village inspiration. Over the years, he has worked hard for what he has right now in terms of the brand name that is Manyora, and also what he has in terms of wealth accumulation, or I should say acquisition. So let's get into this conversation and see if there are challenges that come with being a person whom the entire village looks up to, and why he has turned down, not once, not twice, endorsement bids to be the member of parliament, not just for Westlands, but at some point for Hamisi constituency in Vihiga County.
There's really nothing to talk about. It's just that some people have been lucky or unlucky to be the only people in the family. Everybody looks up at you.
In the village.
Or in the village. It really means nothing. It just means that.
Our son is on TV.
When that happens, people think you are big. They think you can have big things. You can be MP. They may be wrong because the constituency may go beyond your village.
But why have you always turned their offer down?
Well, there are many reasons why you may or may not go into politics. It's not winning. By the way, winning is not a problem. If I stood up, that won. It's not winning. I have seen many MPs suffering. Just to be an MP is a very big thing in this country. It's a very difficult thing. So you need to weigh your options and say, now I can win. How do I sustain myself as an MP? Let me tell you, I used to go to parliament many years when I was still a man of this world. When you go to parliament as a guest, there is a lounge where you can meet MPs and have dinner and have a drink. A guest. Then there is another one inside. It is called Commonwealth.
Commonwealth?
Yes. Anybody who has been an MP in the Commonwealth can enter. Now you can't, because you have never been an MP. Or you could have been an MP in America. You must have been an MP in the Commonwealth, Kenyan included. Now that one, Mimi like Manyora and you can't enter. So some MPs hide there to hide from people. Now I have seen MPs, especially MPs, they go to the third one. Now that one is for sitting members of parliament only. Nobody else can enter there. Not even a former MP who has come to beg.
The baggage is too much from the lecture.
MP maskini wanajificha huko. MPs go home and they wake up at 4. By 5 he has left the home. When people come, you can be harassed.
Mkubwa ametoka.
So, there are many considerations. But top on the list of why you may not really, sometimes not bother. Our people don't seem to want people who can help them. they want to deal with the con men. So if people are happy dealing with con men, you might just want to leave them alone.
Political brokers.
You brokers and cheap fellows. You can see now, you wonder, how can a constituency elect a man like this? Once, twice, thrice. People who can elect a man like this. Let me just...
All right. People of Luombe, some of them, majority of them, especially you, the young generation, are saying Manyora has actually set a bar that we can only take higher. Yes. Do you think this far you've made them proud? When you go there, they meet, they say, Manyora, please help us with this and that, legislate on our behalf where you can. Do you think you've made them proud?
That is normal, and that happens all the time. Wherever you stay somewhere and you are perhaps the only person who has certain achievements, gone to school certain level, there will be all those kind of things, and expectations, legitimate or otherwise. That's very, very normal. Very
all right.
Normal,
You're about to head into retirement and probably go back to Luombe and sit under a mango tree.
Yes.
Are you afraid of retirement? Will they accept you back?
You know me, I'm a village boy. One of the reasons why people fear, you can find somebody has been having a very big job, and when they leave the public service as minister, they come back to university to teach Uganda and do small job. It's because the fear of going down. But me, I'm down. I was born down. I've never left down. I'm still there. So what am I getting afraid of?
You visit
If I had reached up, I would be fearing now nikienda chini. Mimi niko chini mali nilizaliwa. I've never left.
the area chief knows you.
Pardon?
The area chief.
Who would not know a man like me? What's wrong with you, my friend?
Always a pleasure to have you on board on this very exciting edition of Siasa Brigade. Remember to watch our live versions that come to you every Friday from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. with none other than the firebrand himself, Herman Manyora, always giving us company and insights into what is happening in the political world. We promise you to give you a 360 coverage when it comes to the run-up to this year's general elections. We shall give you the best news and updates on the political landscape until when the fat lady will sing on the 9th of August this year. My name is Mwenja. Peace.